Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good day and welcome to the show. Listen, I'm glad to have you guys here. Today is Thursday, the 1st of October, 2020. First day of October. And, we sense a little bit of a chill in the air. The temperatures are going to start changing soon in the next few weeks. I want to talk about something. Can you imagine if Alexander the Great was alive today in our modern day society, and he was the ruler of the whole world, and he was sitting upon his throne, with his big scepter, and he had his big king hat on, and so he is the emperor of the whole world, Alexander the Great. Nobody like him, So anyway, in the court that day, the the magistrate of the court, he comes in and he bows before the king, and the king lowers his scepter so that he can stand up and speak, and he says, "Oh, my majesty, the people of the kingdom, the entire kingdom, decided to take a vote on whether you should be the emperor or some other guy." Some other guy. So anyway, Alexander the Great says, "Well, tell me more. Tell me about this." "Well, just like I said, your majesty, they want to take a vote." Alexander put his hand up and he said, "Bring in my highest general of my command." And the general come marching in his suit. And Alexander the Great would say, "Okay, tell me, is the army behind me? Is the military behind me?" "Oh, yes, your majesty, all the military's behind you. You are the chief commander of the military." "Okay," he says, "that's great. Now bring in my executives to tell me the condition of my kingdom." And they bring them all in, and they're all standing in a line before Alexander the Great. And Alexander would say to them, "Tell me the popular opinion of the people of the land. How do they feel about me?" "Well, your majesty, most of the people out there, or a good percentage of them, especially the ones that live out in the country, they love you. They love you, your majesty." So then Alexander sits there for a minute, and he puts his palm against his chin, and he sits there and thinks for a minute or two. And he says, "Listen," he says, "I'm not worried about this vote. If they vote for me, things will go great for them. If they don't vote for me, things will go very dire and bad for them indeed." That's how it will go. And, it's just like the Big Lebowski movie. I put a clip of it at the start of this video. He says, if you write down that number, he says, you're going to go into a world of pain. Who has all the cards? That's the thing. Alexander. He's the world empire, the world emperor. He has all the cards. Alexander doesn't live today in our world, our society, And these are emperors of the past, like, Alexander the Great, Cyrus the Great. These were great emperors of our ancient worlds, and our modern world's different. If they came into our world, they wouldn't understand how our world operates and functions. And in fact, it's getting to the point where our world doesn't operate and function very well indeed. It's a hot mess. At least they had order back in those days. And a certain amount of civility, and they had enough certainty about their lives and things that they could make plans. A man would marry a woman in those days, and they'd decide to have children, and they were making plans for their life together. We've moved into a period right now where young people can't make plans. They're still in their parents' basement, for crying out loud. Our system is not functioning properly. It's a hot mess. Anyway, let's get started. Let's open up the charts right here and take a look at what's going on with the prices of things. We got a silver price is shooting upwards today. It's up nearly $1 today so far. 24.15. It's still busy climbing. That looks good, but we've all figured this was coming. And in fact, the big, I'm going to call it a gold rush. The big rush into the precious metals, I think it's just really beginning. Because they've corrupted the entire monetary system, and there's only one place you can find stability. Gold and silver. Well, cryptos is becoming more stable too, though. But in time, I could see cryptos becoming as stable as gold and silver in time, given time. But right now, the most stability is in gold and silver. And so we're seeing the silver price go up because people want stability. They'll always want stability. Now look at this, 1911, up $26 for gold. So gold's cracked above the $1,900 mark again, and it's still moving upwards this morning right now. Cryptocurrency price, $337 billion. We're looking at a sudden drop in cryptocurrency right now. It's ongoing right now in Bitcoin and in the other cryptocurrencies. We're looking at the price down to $10,539 for Bitcoin, and we're looking at the price of all the other coins seem to be dropping pretty good too, Bitcoin dominance of 57.6%. Let's take a look at the Dow today. We're up 114 points again. I'm waiting for a major. Some people would call it a crash, and yes, I believe it would be a crash if they didn't interfere with it. In fact, it would go all the way down to 5,000, maybe 4,000, maybe even 3,000 points, the Dow, if they didn't interfere with it, But when it's on its way down, that's falling really fast, they're going to panic and they're going to interfere. I'm almost certain of that. I feel about 99% confident that they're just not going to let it fall, that they're going to step in and interfere at a certain point, and they're going to stop the fall and stop the collateral damage as it moves downwards. But that action that they're going to take is probably going to be unprecedentedly large. They're probably going to do something that we'd never expect them to do. I can think of a few things they might do, the banks have an account with the Fed, the big banks, like J.P. Morgan Bank, City, all these big, these big banks, Bank of America, and all these big banks, they have a Fed account, that they keep with the Fed. They're not allowed to touch that money in the Fed account. So basically what the Fed does is it lends money to the banks and it just puts it in an account at the Fed. And there the money sits, Well, with an act of Congress, they could open those accounts up. You imagine the money that would flow into the system if they did that. It would be something similar to to breaking a dam open or opening the sluice gates on a dam. That would, that's all they need to do, is something like that. They might do something we never thought of, and just release tons of money into the system. And once they get into the panic mode, see, I'm going to tell you something about them on our side of the fence. It's like, okay, I'll explain it to you this way. It's like China. China makes plans in advance, what they're going to do if a situation happens. They're already planned for it. Like if America were to go into war with China, China would already know what to do. But America, they take action after. They decide what they're going to do after a situation happens. They're not proactive. They're wait and see, and then they take action after a situation happens. So they're not taking any action right now because the stock market's not falling. But if this stock market just goes poof down, just falls like a stone, then they'll take action. See? Because they're not proactive. They're not ahead of it. They're always behind it. But the problem is with this is, if the stock market falls too far, really starts to fall out of bed, and it gains momentum going down, then it's going to take a massive amount of stimulus to stop that fall and bring it back up again on the other side, And that kind of stimulus is going to mean that the world is going to start to rethink the dollar. Anybody with a mind, anybody with a brain at that point would rethink the dollar. And we'd be on our way to hyperinflation. But I believe that's coming. And, you know, at any point right now, forward, that could happen. Any little thing could trigger the market into going into a massive decline at this point. And then, how far are they going to let it go down before they step in? This is a big thing, you know. Okay. Crude oil, it's down to $1.97, $38.25 today. Bonds and rates. Well, oh, I forgot to get my picture for you guys. Look through and get a picture for you guys today. A funny picture or something. There's a picture here. What's this? Well, there's your funny picture. It's not so funny though, actually. You know. But I mean, their debate. In one way, you could look at the debate that happened, and you could see it as being hilarious. And in another way, you know, I mean, it could be very disappointing or whatever. I mean, I'm totally fed up with the two-party system now at this point. I'm just totally fed up with it. Okay, U.S. dollar today. U.S. dollar index, 93.73 on the U.S. dollar index. And we see the dollar is going along basically sideways today again. Listen, thank you guys for listening to my report. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. And remember to give me a thumbs up. Bye-bye, guys.